Hello and welcome to our webinar. Today we're talking about our Meisterplan roadmap, the latest and the greatest. Just a few housekeeping items before we get started. We will be recording this webinar, and in the follow-up email, we will send you a link to the recording. We will also have a Q&A session. For that, if you have questions, there is a raise your hand feature or raise my hand feature. You can see here on the slide shows you how to access that, or you can answer any questions in the question panel. And when we get to that time of the webinar, we'll answer all of your questions. And then in the follow-up email, we'll also be sending a survey for your feedback. We love to get your feedback on what you enjoyed, what topics you're interested in the future, and any other feedback that you have to give us. So, okay, let's go. My name is Caroline Holitsky, and I'm the Director of Product Marketing here at Meisterplan. Today I have with me Debbie Somerville. She is our Director of Customer Success, and Debbie will be taking the lead today. So let's get started.
Awesome. Thanks, Caroline. All right. So what we have for the agenda today is a deep dive on project monitoring with actual time and some of the newest features, the latest features we have in Meisterplan for this. The other will be Caroline talking about the releases coming up and a look at the roadmap. All right. Before I get started, I wanted to just simply talk about the perspective here and give it a little context. So, simply creating a plan is manageable for most organizations. However, problems arise when it comes to two topics. One is portfolio monitoring, which is the monitoring of projects to see how the plan is progressing. And the second is post-project evaluations to identify causes for success or the reasons a set goal was not achieved. So companies that plan without monitoring or project evaluations are in the truest sense kind of flying blind. You know, this data is so important to your portfolio success. When I speak of project monitoring and what I'd like to show you within Meisterplan shortly is that what can you gain from this? First, who is not actually working when expected? It's a great trigger to talk to them or their manager because that work usually still has to be done and it's just going to be pushed into the future. So delays would be coming. Second, the deviation to time is one of those factors to say, yeah, we're all kind of a little different. It's, you know, estimates are estimates. However, when you're large deviations, you want the ability to see that clearly at a portfolio level easily. So again, you know who to speak to more quickly than perhaps their next status report. Um, if a lot of projects are experiencing the same issue and schedules are increasing or time is not being worked on, you're going to have a domino effect coming, and so there's going to be a lot of adjustments needed. And so that's why, of course, there's importance to monitor at a portfolio level all the differences that might be happening on projects and be able to react to them. From a post-project evaluation, I'm sure many of you go through some lessons learned today. And as you're working with Meisterplan and building this data, you really can tell some real interesting and helpful information. One is, what was the project a success or a failure as it relates to being on time or on budget? Because what will that help you with is future estimation. What did you not know early on? And is there some ways to put that into your early on estimating process? So being able to track that in Meisterplan is really important for that future piece, getting better. The other is starting to understand really the typical types of projects and how long they typically take, whether it's duration or effort. It helps you start validating when project estimates are coming to you and it's similar to last year's project or 2 upgrades ago, that you are able to ask and maybe validate the assumptions that are being made. If they're giving you it's 3 months, and yet typically you see from history it's 8 months typically, you're able to at least have that dialogue on saying, why do we think it's only going to take 3 months this time? So again, as this information builds up, it really becomes a wealth of information for you. So from a functionality point in Meisterplan, there's a few things that we have in store for you today. Some of the oldies but goodies. We have still, of course, fields that you can track uh, subjectively some of the statuses. We have our quick import for actual time work. I'll just quickly review that today in the system for those that may not have seen it. Our allocation tracker, which brings all that data together. Some of the newer features that I'll also highlight today are the My Projects view and being able to do time tracking at a team level. Um, Having the actuals visible in your project details by person or role so you can see how far off you are is a really great feature that I'll show you. Um, Visualizing some new KPIs that we have available once you start tracking time and how you can display it in some of the different views. Coming soon on our roadmap are some improved functionality with milestones, which usually get in concert with time and when time should be spent. Project types, billing rates, cost per hour in development for actual comparisons, and display and comparing task details from the integration directly in Meisterplan. So a lot of great stuff coming your way, and I'll be able to show you many of that here today. So we're going to start um, in Meisterplan to show you some project level information. I'll demo how to add the actuals, how to monitor this, where you can see the actual versus plan, and how to adjust the actuals. At a portfolio level, I'll also show you places where you can monitor beyond just one project at a time, whether that's the dashboard, reporting, or what you can do with some of the templates. All right, let's get started. So first, some of the basics. Um, you know, importing time can be done in a few different ways. Historically, we've had the actual time worked feature here where you can import actual time. I'm going over to the help files just real quick here for actual time worked so that you can see the layout. All that's needed is a link to the project key, the resource who worked on that project, the date you're bringing in the actual time. Usually it's a week, Friday, so booking date is a Friday, and then how many hours for that week did that person work. Optionally, you can, when importing time, indicate if that time should be capitalized or not, and how many hours, or override the cost per hour for that. So it gives you a little more flexibility for those that are tracking time for capitalizing work, and you can override it in that manner. All right. The second way that we tend to see many customers going is the integration. We have an open API that many other time tracking solutions would be able to push that data over to Meisterplan. Again, the keys for projects and resources just need to be mapped. But once that data is in your other system. It can be done on a daily basis, whatever makes sense for your visibility of it. If you're interested in more integration talk, please reach out to us and we can see if that would work with your time tracking system. Now let me show you a newest view that we have here in Meisterplan, and that's called My Projects. So My Projects is for any team member that is working and allocated to project work. The first goal of My Projects is just to see what they're planning to get assigned to them and when it's coming, and they can just mentally keep in mind the priority of that work as well as the expected time they're planned for it. So if they see their work is going over the plan, they have then the capability of obviously talking to their manager about it. However, our newest function here is actual time tracking. So this is a security setting that would be turned on. I can show you that in a moment. We have taken a more simplistic approach to time tracking because nobody likes to do it anyways. And so the first is making it easy. If somebody, I'm pretending I'm Henry Wang here. If somebody, as Henry Wang said, hey, I worked this plan, I worked my 40 hours, it as soon as they click that on, it will spread that 40 hours through the day that they posted it. And because I've posted it in 4 days, it's spreading it 10 days, 10 hours a day. If I did that tomorrow, it would spread 40 hours over 5 days. Now, you can override this and say, I worked a few more a few less hours in each day here, and so I can adjust these hours, and then the actual sum here would say you only worked 30 hours for this project this week. If by chance I don't see a project that I'm because I wasn't planned to work on, say, new reporting engine until the mid-May, sorry, I could perhaps say, you know what, I started working on that actually. I wasn't supposed to, but I was asked to do a few things. You could actually add projects that you've been allocated for as long as that project has started during that time period, you're allowed to add it to your project list. All right. So those are a few different ways to enter actual time. Now, what do you do with it? Let's show project list and look at a view I've created called monitor time. And all I've did here is I configured the columns to show me some of the time fields. So that would be planned allocations until last booking, actual time worked, the deviation of actual time worked to the plan. I can put that in percentages or actual time. And I'm also putting here approved total effort, which we kind of view as a baseline of project time. Hey, when was the last approval for the entire project? And then what's your planned allocations at completion? What does this give me? At a portfolio level, I can look at all active projects and sort by this deviation and then start addressing the ones that are either highly underworked or maybe highly overworked. Both can be a problem if people are just not working towards the plan. Maybe they didn't need the time if they're underworking the plan, which is great. Then if it's too much, you may just adjust the plan so you know other work can be done with those team members. If I was a project manager, I could easily, and I'm pretending I'm Henry Wang for this demo, I could easily just view my projects as a project manager, and again, do the same thing for the ones I care about looking at. So portfolio level, look at everything for active, and then for project managers, you could drill into your own. All right. The other thing, the other way to monitor one project at a time is in a couple places here in the project details. One, some of the oldie but goodies, the actual tracker has a second tab that you can see the roll up of actual time from all team members and then the deviation. And you can see also for everybody working on the project what is the totals as of the last booking date. Very new is seeing this on the allocation tab. So hopefully many of you have already saw the allocation tab where you can adjust the planned numbers, and before you would do this only in Portfolio Designer or Team Planner. Now you can also adjust the plan allocations. If you flip over to the actual time work tab, guess what you see? You see a comparison of the actual time by time period. You can, zoom out, zoom in, and get a deviation. Again, sometimes the deviation, even if you're under working, that could be a bad thing, as well as overworking the project. So just keep an eye on both of them and just make sure you understand what's happening. What is also new is that beyond the team member updating their own projects, a project manager that's assigned to this project can also make changes here. So if in your process you only have project managers making the updates after they've done their weekly meeting, all of that can be entered here by week, month, or year. Obviously, it's more week or month based on whatever your process is for capturing that. Now, if it was integrated from a different system, you would just see this screen from what's been actually done, and it's more of a monitoring tool at that point, more than a data entry tool. All right. The other thing I wanted to show you, I forgot while I was on this tab, is this new KPI, percent of completion. It's automatically calculated based on the planned hours and what you've actually worked on that plan. And I'll show you in a moment where else you can see that KPI. So you can add that field anywhere, like I've added it here as an example, wherever it makes sense for you to see it while monitoring some of the other time KPIs. All right. Let me see where else I could show you. So that's pretty good for projects. Let's get into some of the portfolio places on being able to see this. One, like to bring you over to Portfolio Designer just for the ability to see some of the new settings here. So um, you, while this isn't that new, maybe you haven't been able to play around with it yet, you can group the projects by different fields that you have set up. Right now I have it set by stage gate. But what I wanted to show you is the show percentage completion option. When I do that, notice how the Gantt chart has a darker color and then a lighter color. This is bringing to bear that percent complete as it relates to the whole effort level, and gives you a sense a little quicker if you have a certain percent complete. Usually, I also see people putting that on the overview here too. I have it way down here though. So that's 19% complete, yet, and so they look a little ahead of schedule, whereas this one's running a little behind schedule according to the numbers. It may just give a lens to ask a question. All right. Another place is in our portfolio dashboard. This is a pretty new view and has been evolving monthly, it seems. And they've been putting some really great work into keeping kind of what is important for you to see just on a quick basis. For this demo, I created a dashboard, and you can create different views and save those, just like any one of our views, with just some of the time KPIs for you to see what you could do with them. And of course, all I did up here is add a KPI card that shows the deviation, the total deviation of time from the baseline, the deviation of actual versus plan, and that's for all projects, which has some interesting bearing. But what becomes more is if you were to create some column charts and look by project manager, perhaps, what is being deviated. And so here, Henry Wang has the largest deviation from the baseline. And so I could look at the projects assigned to Henry Wang, or plan versus actual. Albert has the largest deviation of time on his projects. And so I could look at what those are and quickly open those. Again, it's just a quick lens to monitor and look for signs of trouble or who you might want to talk to. In the spirit of transparency with that percent complete, a couple new changes on the roadmap. One, while I have this color coded by project phase here, I could of course change that to stage gate or strategy, whatever your custom field is, but there's a new show percent complete. Let me just do stage gate, show percent complete. And you have the two-tone color again. So the darker part is what's actually been worked on, and then what's still left to come. So you can change that in the configuration cog wheel there. While I'm here, I did want to show you, while it's not time related, show you that we have made a way to organize the roadmap a little different. Before, it was always being shown by timing, meaning it just tried to condense as many projects as we could on the screen to make it as small as possible. Yet some stakeholder groups were confusing that with, well, is that the priority? Is release 1 and release 2 on the same priority? And so we've made a change where you could actually change that to rank order. And so it happens to be close in priority, but now it will be top to bottom, highest priority to lowest priority. So if that was something that would add value to you, make sure you make those changes and save your custom views with that new project sort. For those that may not have seen, another oldie, recent oldie, I guess, is showing the milestones, hide all milestones, hide them. If you click on one project, you can see just the projects and the dependencies for that milestone. All right. The other area you can monitor time, especially at a portfolio level, is in our reporting. So if we quickly go over there, I want to show you the one actual versus plan by department. This can be in many different groupings. Right now I'm looking at April. I've just changed the date range to be April, but maybe I want to see the last 2 months. And I can see by department, this is just an OBS field here. where are we off, and then I can drill down to people and who's most deviated, and then what are those projects that those people are working on. So this is another way to monitor it. If you have Power BI reporting, we definitely have some uh, API can bring over this information. There are some free templates also available that that are found on our webpage. Let me show you where those are at. And if you need help doing any Power BI reporting, we do have expertise to help you. But you can see any of our free templates here that you can download and just get started with. And some of these tabs have actual versus planned on them. The last thing I'd like to just highlight is the templates. I had talked about doing retros and learning from typical projects and how long typical projects take. Um, we would recommend, if you have similar type projects, that you create templates for these projects. And so the templates just mean um, what type of roles need to work together. Um, Usually there's a profile that says when do they ramp on the project, when do they ramp off the project, and you could set those up for a quick getting started. This is a way to quickly start by duplicating this, and then you're just making some um, adjustments to the new project and changing the name and maybe obviously a better start date. So that's how you can manually create new projects using a template. Um, we do have some automation that if you're interested in and have the capability of using templates, that when these templates are created, we could get started using this template, but adjusting the numbers instead of this being um, 300 days, 338 days. Say you changed it to 500 days because you knew it was just a little more time than this one. We can auto adjust these allocations by team member. So it's an automation we've created. You could give us a call if you're interested in hearing more about that. The last thing I want to show you is just some of the Meisterplan administration changes that would make these active or actual time tracking work. If your Meisterplan administrator would be the one to go over here. But as you're looking at, say, team members, the the changes you would want to make is that team members can view and edit their own time. If you were a project manager, you would want to be able to edit the actuals, and that was what I showed you in the project details, where you could type in and actually put in some of the actuals. And of course, they can only do that for the projects that are assigned to them as project manager. So that gives them some limitation, but more flexibility for their projects. All right, good. The one other thing to just remember is that when you are creating users to come into Meisterplan, that user needs to link to someone in the resource pool so that there's a relationship to I'm logged in, but who am I when I'm allocated to a project? And so there is that link you would need to do here. Notice I linked myself to Henry Wang. So that's why it thought I was Henry Wang when I was in the views. But this is the relationship you need to make for project managers, resource managers, team members, as an example. All right. Um, one more before I hand it over to Caroline. The couple things just to be aware of. I always like to make sure you know what's free and what you have to leverage on your own. We do have in the AAP region a virtual network. If you are interested in connecting with other customers on a topic, um, there is on our events page a registry. It's not as much of a registration versus I'm interested, and here's the topic I'm interested in. Or you could talk to your customer success manager. We also have coming out soon oops, a, um, a blog on some better practices while doing high level planning. So be sure to look out for that blog in your newsletter. And if you're not signed up for our newsletter, there's a link on our website to be able to do that, or again, talk to your customer success manager for help. And then the Power BI templates, which are free, you can download and make any changes you want to get started. Some additional services we do offer. We have a workshop and training on how to estimate time at a high level with a little more accuracy. It includes the templates and some framework to get started for team members. So check us out and ask some questions if you're interested in that. We also have the automation of those project templates that I was talking about, where you can create templates based on historical knowledge, and then it could automatically adjust based on some of the new knowledge you have. It goes from 300 to 500 hours. We can adjust everybody's time. It's, it's a really great idea if you have a lot of people working on projects and you don't want to change everybody's hours. If you had one or two people, you could do that manual and it's not a big deal. We also have a new service that if you've been on Meisterplan for some time, we could analyze your data, of course, with your approval, and you would connect with us on this by project type. So you can get knowledge of those past projects and a typical duration or a typical estimate. That's a way to build your templates with more confidence. All right. Caroline, I will hand it over to you. I think you're on mute.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Thank you so much for all of the different features and processes that you showed us that will help people with project monitoring. I will go into a bit more in depth with some features, some of them that are currently already out, and then some that are coming soon. So Debbie showed a little bit in the portfolio dashboard. I'll go into a little bit more detail. We'll start with how to give access. So if you're an admin, like most of the views, you can go into manage, go to customizable navigation, and you can choose who should be able to have access to the portfolio dashboard. You may not want, for instance, team members to be able to access that data. So you might want to remove them from the user group access rights. Now going back to the view itself, you can see here there's different types of cards that you can add, so that we have bar charts, column charts, donut charts, and KPIs. Coming soon, we'll also add bubble charts to this. Then if you look at the individual charts, you can edit if you want to change the name of the chart to something that is more applicable, or if you want to change the fields, you can go in and edit those. You can delete them. You can take this, and if you want to change the order of the charts, you can do that. You can resize them if that makes sense for you. There's a lot of different things like that you can do. Then here you can see if you hover over different areas, you can see the information directly in the chart. If you click in, so let's click into one of these, then you can also see more information down here. You could also go straight to the project details, and you could adjust some of the fields that are showing here to make any changes that you need to make, and then go back to your dashboard for those updated numbers. Um, then you can save custom views as usual, like with the other views. And I already told you about the bubble charts that are coming. We also have what also is coming soon is you'll be able to filter based on certain fields, and that way you can focus on exactly the information that you need. And also soon, so this is currently in beta, but when it's out of beta, all the bubble chart, the filtering, and also, oh, you can see it here. I have a, it's not it yeah, you'll eventually be able to see information here in the information panel. So this is in the staging environment right now. So you'll be able to get that information when you're, let's see, I think I could probably choose a certain project and maybe we can see, yeah, then you can see information. So that hasn't been updated in the live version yet, but that will be coming soon when the portfolio dashboard goes out of beta and is fully released. So that is the first one I wanted to show you guys. The next thing, and this is coming in the next few weeks or so, are project types. And Debbie mentioned that a bit. I'll go show you a little bit more. I've already configured a few different project types. You'll have a default already, and that default will be based on how you've already configured your project details. So that one will already be set up with your normal configuration. Um, then if you want to add, you can add additional project types, like we'll do US projects. You can say what contribution to a project score they have. You can then add a pretty color and add that in there. And then it will take on the configuration of the default view. But then you can add tabs or you can make changes to the fields as you need to. And then for the other tabs, you can do the same thing. So not just for new ones, but you can adjust these at any time and edit them to be just so that you see for different project types exactly the information that's relevant. For instance, you would likely have different tabs and different things you want to see for customer projects as opposed to just regular run the business work. So that is another one that I want to show you. And then moving on to in the project list, you can you can configure the columns to add a project type, and we'll apply that. Oh, let's put it a little bit higher so we can see it. And here, then you'll be able to see directly here in the project list what kind of project it is. If possibly it has the wrong project type, you can just inline edit that and change it to the correct project type as well. You'll also have the ability to access the project types in the roadmap. So if we go here and we go to project type, you'll be able to see this grouped in that specific way. And then you'll also be able to choose project type as a filter and really just drill down into just one specific project type and the different information on that project and what that roadmap looks like. So that is everything on project type right now. Then let's go to the resource pool. The next thing that is coming soon is our billing rate. So we will have a default billing rate per hour, which you can see here, but you can also go in and you can set up specific billing rates per role, for instance. You can change those. You can also do that per resource. So you can go in and, you can go in and adjust those. It's still in staging. So I think that's where I needed to go. Sorry. You can go in and then adjust these to update cost per hour, but you can also then update what the standard billing rate would be. So that way you know how much, it gives you a bit more insight into how much you're going to be billing for the work that your employees and people are doing. Then we can go look at the, let's go look at a project itself. Sorry, wrong view. Taking a second to load. So you can go into the project details and you can go into the financial tab, and that's another place where you could alter the billing rate per hour. So those are, and this one is coming again, I think in the next few weeks to a month or so. And then we'll also, let me switch over. Another thing I wanted to show you, we don't have this in staging yet, so this is just a mock, and it's a sneak peek, so beware, things will change. It won't look exactly like this. It's still, but we are working on being able to bring your data and your work from other tools, whether those are agile tools, work management tools, for instance, Project for the Web or Jira or Azure DevOps, and you will be able to bring in that work and be able to compare that and have better visibility to see when the reality is not going to match up to your plan, and then you can know what changes you need to make and what decisions need to be made. So that's something that's pretty cool that that we'll be bringing out. This one's going to be coming a bit later, so we're looking at some months, possibly beginning of Q3. Then you guys are probably or hopefully already familiar with our product roadmap. This is a great place for you to go. We already talked about billing rate, but you can go in and get really up-to-date information on the status of different things that we're working on. You can see some other things that we're working on, for instance, planning with agile teams. Then we also have our under consideration. And this is a place where you can go to see all the different things that we're thinking of working on. And you can go and you can vote and you can say what's most important to you. So just to show you a couple of things. So one of the things that we're looking at is making it easier to compare scenarios, to make that really be able to assess that and visually see that comparison in a better way. Another one is distributing financial events across a time range. So right now, financial events happen on a specific date, but we're looking at being able to put that on a time range and say, okay, this financial event is happening from this date until this date. So just a couple of examples of some of the things that we have under consideration to put into our pipeline. So that is what I have for now. I think we'll move on to the question and answer section. The first question that we have is, we track actual times in another system. Is there a way to get the benefits of what you just showed us from another system? So what Debbie showed in Meisterplan for the actuals. Debbie, could you answer that one?
Yep. So yes, you can. As a rule, many of the time tracking systems allow the data to be shared using what they technically call an API. So if that's the case, and any cloud-based system would typically have that, we can get the data from that system over to Meisterplan. And the reason you would want to do that is to get the benefits of those allocation trackers and some of those monitoring areas. So yeah, if you're interested, give us a call. We could help research that system you have and put together a plan for you.
Very good. The next question we have is about the portfolio dashboard. And they ask, is it possible to have a filter or to have a sort or to change the colors? So yeah, the filter is coming. So with the fully released version of the portfolio dashboard, we will have the ability to filter. Sorting, I think you can manually sort. I'm not sure that there's going to be an actual sort filter, but I can ask about that. And as far as changing the colors, you can go into the individual charts themselves and decide on which color ranges you want to use. So that's coming soon, I believe. So Let's see. Any other questions? I think that is all.
I was
Do
going
you
to
have one,
say,
Debbie?
yeah, a couple that some might have, or just connecting the dots. So the billing rate, as you were showing that, Caroline,
Hmm.
and again, once that's released, we'll show that to you in one of these webinars. But think of that as if you have customer projects that are billable hours, and so you can override those rates project by project. And so I know you showed that quickly, but that was a way to override it at a project level while you can still have a default in your resource pool of a typical billing rate. So that might be something for those customers that are actually doing customer work. You could consider that one. The second that I thought, and this could need a discussion with your customer success manager, is project types. Because I know many customers already have project types, and are they trying to set up every one of their projects as a project type? The answer may be no. It's really similar work,
Hmm.
similar information that you want to see together. For example, run the business projects usually have only a few fields you even care to show. You don't need the trackers. You don't need milestones. You don't need all the other tabs. So seeing that project details for run the business could be set up now differently than if you were a project running financials and needing to see a lot more of those sections and tabs. So this
Yeah,
is giving you the flexibility to modify the project details differently.
exactly. Thanks, Debbie. Thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah,
Okay, it looks like I don't think we have any other questions. Let me make sure no one has their hand raised. Yeah, so it looks like we're good. Thank you all for participating. As I mentioned before, we'll follow up with an email that will include the feedback survey, not surgery, uh, the feedback survey, as well as a link to the recording of this webinar. And we look forward to hearing your feedback and seeing you at our next webinar. Thank you.
Byron.